We are on the freeway now. Steven's our driver. Nod your head. You're on camera. Yeah, there we go. Connor, of course, we've got Straight Outta Connor with us. Woo-hoo! Coach Carlson.
Hello.
Yeah, and show me what you're drinking. Of course, we had a little pit stop for the coffee. Yes, yes.
The large.
The large, yeah, because we started very early. Hey, we're coming up on Soledad, and right after we pass this little city center, we're going to make the turn off to CTF, and there we go. Yeah, there we are.
In Salinas Valley.
In Salinas Valley State Prison. Yeah, that's right. I'm so excited we get to take our cameras into Salinas Valley. Cool, huh? All 4 yards. The guys are prepared. We don't know what they're going to be doing, but we're taking our cameras in, and we will let you in on it. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. Turn up the volume so you can hear these guys talk about their GOGI tools. Oh gosh, here we go. Correctional facility, 1.5 miles. We got GOGI going on there, and we are going to capture it for you to see how they're doing GOGI at Salinas Valley State Prison. And in about 2 nanoseconds, we're going to have to turn off the camera because we can't film on grounds until we get inside. So we're going to take our cameras inside, and once we are inside, we are going to capture GOGI. So let's get the gate, and then that's going to be about it.
We are the House of Blues, and we are the faces of GOGI.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Pistage. I'm a proud member of the Salinas Valley State Prison GOGI House of Blues. And today we'd like to welcome you into our community. These are my brothers, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Now we have one question up on the board. How would you gentlemen define a good neighbor? How do you define what is a good neighbor?
Hi, my name is Frank. When I first joined this group, I was a loner. And this group showed me what family is, what community is. So by me being eligible for parole, when I go home, now I know how to be a good neighbor. I open my arms to the community, and hopefully they'll open their arms back to me. And I've learned all this just from this simple group, GOGI. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Glenn Wilson. I would define a good neighbor as someone, thanks to the tools in this group, as someone who lives a life of service to better his community. You know, I know what it means to be a bad neighbor, to be to not contribute to the community, and now I believe, I know what it takes to serve my community and uplift my community and just help whoever is in need in the community, and by conducting introspection within myself and fixing myself first and foremost, I can adequately help the others in my community. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Heinmarsh. The way I define a good neighbor is someone who has the empathy for other people as they have for themselves. To sit there to have this, understand that these people in the community have the same wants and values and needs that they themselves have, and to respect that. There's been times in my life when I haven't been that respectful, and this group here has taught me to sit there to see them in that way.
Hi, my name is Albert. For me, the way I define a good neighbor is somebody who's respectful and somebody that's helpful. I think when we use the word respect, a lot of times we just throw it out there and we don't really go by the definition of respect. The definition of respect is somebody who is careful not to violate somebody else's space or dignity. And that's very important, to be aware of that, to live like that. And with not just the people that you like, with everybody, so that everybody around you is safe. Because that's really what a good neighbor is all about. Somebody that you're safe around and that you have good vibes around, you know what I mean? That's what, for me, a good neighbor is.
Hi, my name is Bill Baymiller, and I lived my first 53 years of my life out there on the streets, being a good neighbor. I was a homeowner, a business owner. Then I went through some trials in life, later in life, and started drinking again and using drugs, and that kind of took me to the thing. But I also know that if you want to, like Albert said, you want to be you want to have a safe neighborhood. You want to have a neighborhood watch. You want to have parties. Like if I used to put on a 4th of July party, and there was no alcohol served at those parties. If somebody wanted to drink, they could bring their own alcohol. You just want a safe house, and you want to get to know people. If you move into the neighborhood, go around, knock on doors, introduce yourself. Tell them if they need anything, you'd be happy to help them. And that's how I describe a good neighbor.
Hi, my name is Andre, and I would agree with all of my brothers here. And to me, a good neighbor is one who goes out of their way to be useful and helpful to the next man, no matter what they look like, skin color, ethnicity, religion, anything like that. Someone who recognizes that they're part of a whole, that they are not individuals, or they are individuals, but they're part of a larger community. Someone that's willing to put others above themselves, but yet know their boundaries, not be overbearing or overstep their boundaries. Someone that goes out of their way to get to know the norms of the neighborhood and in the community, that way they can be a productive member of that community.
My name is Miguel. You know, everyone here has great input regarding what a good neighbor, is defined as, and I think we are the perfect candidates to really make a judgment call on that, because as convicted felons, we have been deprived of our freedom because of our behavior and our conduct. So being away from our families, we get a little bit of time to acknowledge what has transpired in our lives. How did we get to this point, And GOGI gives us the ability to recognize that, One of the things that we realize while we're in here in prison is the fact that in the land that we left behind, it's like we're on a ship out to sea, and life goes on out there. Our moms get older, our sisters and brothers, move on with their lives. Our nieces and nephews get older, they get married, and they have children. And we're still in this setting because we did not value what a good neighbor was, or those who were around us. So we are learning how to define a good neighbor by the community in which we're living, by respecting one another, being mindful of one another. And so those are the things that now we are getting a new definition of what a good neighbor is based on our mistakes, based on the things that we know we have done wrong, and we have taken responsibility. We have claimed responsibility, as one of the tools of GOGI tells us. We have claimed responsibility for our actions, making our future brighter.
Hi, my name is Miguel White, and my definition of a good neighbor is somebody who's selfless, who's prepared to, deny their own, well-being for the moment in service of another person, or somebody who's selfless, who's prepared to give back to society around him and just be of service.
Making me conscious and aware of my conduct, my actions, my patterns, what I do, what I say, from a 5-second light switch to belly breathing to whether I'm being a boss of my brain. One that I really love personally is what if. Like I said before, I've been a bad neighbor. I know what it means to be a bad neighbor, but what if I can change my community, serve my community, help people that I see in need? And oftentimes, from my experience, what was lacking in a neighborhood is just that sense of community, someone to give that little effort and care and compassion to serve their fellow neighbor. And these tools that I've learned have made me very aware of my own actions first and foremost, before, such as forgive, make sure that I'm free from harm and that I correct my own actions before I help someone else. And I believe that these tools can help me educate young people that are much like myself when I was out.
How would I include the GOGI tools in being a good neighbor? When I think about that, I think about the tools of creation, because ultimately you want to create a neighborhood that you're comfortable in, a neighborhood that you're safe in. And the best way to do that, like my brother here was saying, Glenn was saying, what if? What if creates a realm of possibilities. It opens up the door to what you can be. If I think about the community that I'm in right now, this is my community. If any one of my brothers here needs me for whatever reason, they know that they can come to me and talk to me about whatever it is. You have to build a relationship, and in doing that, you create your own world to live in. You know, your neighborhood, it's the foundation of for your children. You know, you have elderly in the neighborhood. You know, all those people need to be cared for, you know, because they can't care for themselves. And I think that, you know, by doing that, that's ultimate freedom at its best. I mean, you're being of service, and you're in an opportune position, you know, to actually give a big part of yourself that's meaningful.
I'm going to steal this from Michael. He came up with this, and I copied it. I stole it from him. He said that at one time we were all a cancer to our community. And this is so true. When we come into prison and we get together and we all discuss these things, we bring it out. It makes us think. And I never realized how important 5 seconds could be. And one of those rules in our community here in prison is a 5-second light switch. If I would have thought about that on the streets, out there when I was running amok, to stop and think just for 5 seconds, I would never be in prison.
My name is Ian Hamilton. GOGI has given me a set of simple tools that cover every aspect of my life. Tools of the body, tools of choice, tools of moving forward, and tools of creation. And by utilizing these tools, I'm able to be a more peaceful and connected individual in whatever community I'm a part of. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Brown Jr. How would I include the GOGI tools in being a good neighbor? What set of tools come to mind is the tools of choice. I like that because it gives me, it's already something I've been doing. I've always been a person that you can come and talk to. I've been a person that if you're having a certain type of mind frame or having a certain type of day, I can give you some type of words to end up changing it. And I do believe that the way you think, the way you talk, it will lead to the way you act. So the tools of choice has given me the opportunity to be a good neighbor in every place I've been. And it's given me the words, the wisdom, and now I'm maturing. It has making me into the man I want to be. Thank you.
My name is Terry Pettis. How would you include the GOGI tools in being a good neighbor? For me, I use the tool forgive. And why I say forgive is because at one point in time, I harmed my community. At one time, I harmed my neighbor. And forgive isn't just forgive saying, I forgive my fellow man or fellow woman. Forgive is being safe from harm to being an act of service. And so that's what I'm trying to include to you in GOGI. What GOGI says is that I have to be safe from harm so I can give to be an act of service. So for me to be able to give to my community, I need to be safe. I need to be away from the madness of my life. I need to be away from the madness of my world because I have to be able to help my neighbor. So for me, that is the one GOGI tool that allowed me to be a great neighbor. Thank you.
We here in prison, one of the things that we learn is that our actions have consequences, you know? And one of the tools of the body, as a matter of fact, is our first tool. It is being the boss of your brain. You know, and oftentimes most of us don't realize who was in control because on this particular tool, we have 3 aspects to our brain, and that is the smart part, you know, the emotional part, and then the old habit part. And most of us reacted to things. Most of us are here because we did not know how to react or how to think before acting. And so the journey of GOGI and the tools that the GOGI provides us helps us to step back and to see things from a different angle, you know, to kind of like view our life, you know, on the screen and say, wait a minute, you know, if I start thinking smart, not emotionally, not old habit ways, then I can make better choices, better decisions, you know, and being a good neighbor is going to include that. It's going to include us being men who think smart, you know. I know that we are convicted felons, and I know that people are wondering, oh, how can I be a good neighbor? How can he be a good neighbor? Why should he come out? And, you know, and they're right. They're right to fear that, but, you know, there's a community of men who are working hard day after day in GOGI and practicing GOGI year after year, you know, retraining the way they think, retraining the way they speak, retraining the way they carry themselves, claiming responsibility for their choices they make every day. And that takes using the smart part of your brain. So I believe, you know, the tools, there are 12 tools, you know, that's just one. So I can only imagine the potential good neighbors that we can become should we apply ourselves.
GOGI, GOGI, your GOGI tools, real lessons to live by. and breathing and put me to the test. I put my hand on my stomach and nut on my chest. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, my thoughts make you rich. So I stepped up my game with a 5-second light switch. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Learn GOGI tools, real lessons to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Learn tools of choice and lessons to live by. A tools of choice that cover the 3 P's. Positive thoughts is the first of these. Positive words and then positive actions. Powerful, productive, and positive reactions. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Learn GOGI tools, real lessons to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Learn tools before and lessons to live by. I'm moving forward and claiming responsibility. I own today and yes, I'm proud of me. I let it go with hands on my toes. With a quick belly breathe, my brain is the boast. A teacher me, it's safe to forgive. If I can't forgive, then how can I live? G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Learn GOGI tools, real lessons to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. Learn tools of creation and lessons to live by. What if I'm not my past? Inside self-reflection, get the parole board ass. So reality check will awaken the dead. With the 10-2 rule, just edge us ahead. Ultimate freedom allows you to be free, but to truly be free must start with me. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by. G-O-G-I, G-O-G-I. GOGI taught me this, I got the tools to live by.